Right, before we start, I need to show you how much of a dumbass I can be when I fixate on completely the wrong thing. So the reason this really messed up is sustained DPS. Talent I was using is Pummeled, which requires 3 consecutive kills, refills your magazine plus 40% weapon damage. What's a double barrel shotgun got? 2-round mag, so there's no way in which it can proc Pummeled without going into sustained DPS calculations. This is your standard DPS calculation, RPM divided by time times damage. In case of a FAMAS, that's 900 divided by 60 times 44191. Now the reason there is such a big difference is simply just because of the way they are applied. This target here, if I have to reload to kill him, that's sustained. If I'm able to kill him in 1 mag, that is all burst. That one there was burst. If I kill a target, reload, even if the magazine is not empty, and then shoot a separate target, that is still burst. If I deplete half the health of an enemy, shoot another target, target 2 is now under burst, but when I go back to target 1, that will be sustained. Typically, with most sort of red builds, you will kill most enemies in 1 magazine. Even if you flicker between enemies, that will still be burst. The only real time in which you will utilize sustained DPS is if you reload in between killing 1 enemy, such as chungers, raid bosses, etc, etc, or if you've got some weird wacky hybrid build where you can't 1 mag something. For sustained DPS, it's magazine times damage divided by your reload plus your mag divided by RPM divided by time. So in the case of a FAMAS again, 50 round mag times 44191 divided by 2.2 plus 50, which is reload plus mag, divided by 900 divided by 60. That will give you your sustained DPS calculations. Depending on your build, you might never see sustained damage output. What you're looking at here, when I go over to this, okay, give me a sec, I'll get there, gotta go very hard. Burst DPS. Next target, still burst. Now it's sustained because I reload. Next target, burst. Still on burst. Now we're on sustained. Burst. Okay. Burst DPS. Burst DPS. Burst DPS. All sustained. Got to reload. Burst DPS. Burst. Burst. Oh, no. Fucked it. Back on sustained. Now it's back on burst for that guy. I'm hoping we kind of get the picture. There is also one more thing to take into consideration. Most sustained calculations will take into account your full mag as well as your full reload. 2.1 second reload. I ducked in cover for like a second and then shot him again. I'm still in burst DPS calculations. You would have to take into consideration the full reload. The only one that will change will be the mag size. Simply if you put 10 bullets into an enemy, it doesn't kill them, you then reload and then fire. You simply adjust your sustained calculation from being a 50 round mag to being a 10 round mag, and then that will give you a different result. But you have to go through the full reload. If you wait longer than what your full reload would be when you start firing on that same target again, that is still a burst calculation. This would be, like, for example, a chunga. You put a full magazine into a chunga, you reload, you move, you reposition, do a few star jumps, and then shoot the same chunga again. That is all still burst. And it's because of all this where the lovely old double barrel shotgun really messed with everything. Right, this is the build I was using. 4-piece Hunter Fury, all rolled to crit damage, a Cheska backpack with opportunistic crit chance, crit damage, crit chance mod. The mod in the mask is also crit chance, and then a Badger Tough chest that I've rolled red, obliterate, crit chance, crit damage, and a crit chance mod. For any shotgun that allowed me to put at least 2 critical hit chance mods on. This put me at 60% crit chance, 117% critical hit damage, 25% total weapon damage from opportunistic, and 2 separate multipliers, one of 45% from Hunter's Fury itself, and then the second for opportunistic. For most exotic shotguns, they were at 50% crit chance and fluctuated between 117 damage and 128 damage. The only outlier was Scorpio, which, thanks to its attachments, allowed for 60% crit chance and 127 critical hit damage. I have done this in some weird ways, so there are going to be some categories for this. I've also, on the main spreadsheets, calculated pellet damage, which is really easy to do. You just divide by 8. So categories are going to be no talent. Then with talent for this, there will be some weapons that are calculated in sustained. I've highlighted them just in case you need to tell. And then I've done it again with talent, with everything calculated as burst. Then I've added a technicality, which I thought was funny, but it actually gives nothing to what I'm even saying here, but it was funny. Then I've done accuracy again, and then accuracy at range, with one of them being taken into account the sustained of the double barrels, and then I've done accuracy at range with just pure burst. This does get quite messy. The main one that you're really going to want, like for almost like the meta listing, I suppose you could argue, will be the accuracy at range with the sustained calculations taken in place. However, on this note, I do wish to say that from testing this and messing around with it, the double barrel shotgun is dumb. It is statistically the dumbest bloody thing in the game. However, due to the nature of the 2-round mags, the only talent that is categorically worth putting on it is fast hands. And then you're adding some serious RNG into the overall performance of it. But yeah, from this you'll notice the double barrel is just ridiculous. Take it into consideration, however, if you do want to use it, fast hands is pretty much your only good option. Right, so here's the spreadsheet for no talent, calculated in the pellet damage as well, which was pretty much instrumental to calculating the accuracy of these things at range, and it became pretty much a nightmare. For the double barrel, boomstick and the sawn off, I have not taken into account sustained DPS. This is literally just pure burst. They've hit twice. That is their DPS. We have the backup boomstick coming in at 31 mil, double barrel 27, boomstick 27, sawn off 27. Then we get the Super 90, the Enforcer. I don't actually have one, but it's the exact same as the Super 90 with pummel. We just require one less kill. Sash G12, Tsunami, 612, Scorpio, Mop. Some French guy's going to kick my ass if I try that. M870, ACS 12, Lefty, Rock and Roll, Spaz 12, Sweet Dreams, Lullaby, KSG, Send Off. And I could already hear the KSG fans going, sorry, don't care. Yeah, in terms of burst DPS, the double barrels are lay dumb. It's just, yeah, horrible. It's horrible. I feel sorry for anything. We then have the lovely spreadsheet which takes into consideration the talent. You might notice that on the far right hand side there's 2 random numbers. That is to calculate the average damage per shot, with half the pellets critting, half the pellets not critting, because the double barrels are at 50% crit chance. Important one to note while this is actually up, every pellet from a shotgun has its own individual chance to crit. It's not 60% chance per shot, it's 60% chance per pellet. That means essentially that on a shotgun you have 60 times 8. That's your crit chance, as like a very rudimentary probability scale. This pretty much means that on a shotgun, 60 is pretty much the be all end all. You can have like 5% crit damage, it doesn't matter, you want 60% crit chance. This is not technically feasible with some shotguns, such as things like the double barrel, because they have no weapon attachments. However, with the outright power of them, even if I dropped the crit chance to the double barrels that I tested on this down to 30% in terms of burst DPS, they are still an average of 18% more burst DPS than any other shotgun. Welcome to the dummening. So, taking into consideration talents, up top we have Boomstick, the named double barrel with perfect pumped up, reloading grants 5% weapon damage for 10 seconds, stacks 5 times. You can basically have this permanently active. 25% increase in weapon damage. It doesn't need it, but just in case, fuck you. Super 90 Enforcer, SAS G12, Tsunami, Scorpio. On Scorpio actually, I did not take into consideration the poison or the shock they can damage. I don't have that sort of time on my hand, so maybe just put Scorpio above SAS G. Lefty, 612, M870, ACS 12, Mop, Spaz 12, French, Rock and Roll, KSG, Sweet Dreams, Lullaby, Send Off, and then because in order to proc Pummel, we had to go into sustained calculations, backup Boomstick, double barrel, Sawn Off. They're highlighted in a different colour, so if you see them in that colour, that means they're calculated as sustained. If you see them as everything else, which will be at the very bloody top, it's calculated as burst. Hopefully that gives you a visual representation. Just as an example, if we do the exact same but calculate those 3 weapons as burst, this is what it looks like. It's dumb. So this is what burst when perfect with Pummel active, not perfect Pummel, just Pummel is active. Yeah, backup Boomstick coming at 36 mil, double barrel coming at 31, Sawn Off 31, and then the Boomstick comes in at 30, and then we basically half our damage, Super 90 at 18 mil. Yeah. Someone needs to contact the authorities because damn. Up next, just for a little bit of a joke, just because it's like 5 AM and I'm doing spreadsheets, I wanted to test something which is really dumb and has no relevance to this whatsoever, but I found it funny. Sweet Dreams and Lullaby, they're able to one-shot things. The highest damage number I could actively get was in a raid, 8-man scaling. Sweet Dreams and Lullaby will one-shot a purple, and the highest damage number I got was 109,417,889. Because it's killing one target, we can calculate that as DPS. So yeah, that's what this looks like. So from like a technicality standpoint, Sweet Dreams and Lullaby are like categorically the highest burst DPS in the game. It's just dumb. Like, this is no buffs, this is no nothing. We can hit 1 billion damage with varying different buffs etc going on, which okay, yes, is technically the highest, but with no buffs, nothing else going on, you can hit that damage number. It's just like, sir, put the shotgun down, sir. Yeah, it made me laugh. Alright, now we get to the part where this actually got slightly annoying, and it was calculating accuracy. And what I actually did for this is I put the range at 5 meters and started shooting the head. Every shot from a shotgun is 8 pellets. I'd fire 1 shot and I would look to see how many of those pellets hit the head. If we go for body, obviously it's all 100% at 5 meters. The head, not so much. The head is also where you're actually going to get your maximum DPS potential. this is actually where I noticed, because originally I was just kind of in the mindset of shotgun, just do dumb damage, point, shoot, thing, die. Who cares? Things actually kind of got a little bit interesting here. There was a very clear indicator that varying different weapons actually have different spreads. So we ended up with Boomstick just because, like, regardless, it just hits so damn hard at maximum stacks. Super 90, Enforcer, Scorpio's creeped up a little bit. One thing that I actually did note as well is in the open world it's considerably easier to get headshots with Scorpio, just because they don't really shoot you back as much because of the shock and confuse. Sash G, Tsunami, 612, MH70, Lefty, ACS 12, Spaz 12, Mr. French, Mop, KSG, Rock and Roll, Sweet Dreams, Lullaby, Send Off, Backup Boomstick, Double Barrel, Sawn Off. Boomstick, Double Barrel, Sawn Off are still calculated for this one as sustained. In terms of burst DPS, they were basically up there with the standard Boomstick, but yeah. Things have moved around just ever so slightly. However, if we then take into consideration that the AA12 series, that's ACS, Lefty and Rock and Roll, I'm aware Lefty looks like a 612, but its stats are the exact same as an ACS 12 down to the fire rate, as well as the optimal range is 14 meters. Double barrel is 11, apart from the Sawn Off and Backup Boomstick, which is 7. KSG is 16 meters. M870 is 14 meters. However, on this I wish to note, I haven't tested it on every shotgun, but on the custom M870 MCS you're able to put the ACOG sight on, which increases its optimal range from 14 meters to 17, which makes it the, other than the send off, it makes it the highest optimal range shotgun. Sash G is 14 meters, Spaz 12 is 16, apart from Lullaby and Sweet Dreams, which are 10 meters. Super 90 is 16 meters, and then 612 is 15, including Mop and Scorpio. So when I calculated how much they would be doing at pretty much their maximum optimal ranges, as well as tested it, I got entirely different results. These are those results. So in at number 1, at its maximum optimal range with its maximum accuracy, I've lost about near enough 2 mil DPS, but the Super 90 is coming in top with Enforcer. Then Scorpio, the M870, however there's a caveat to this, the M870 can go 1 meter past the Super 90, at which point the M870 does actually do more than the Super 90. Sash G, Tsunami, 612, Boomstick, Send Off, Lefty, Mop, KSG, ACS 12, try hitting anything with the ACS 12 at 14 meters, like it's a nightmare. Spaz 12, Frenchie, Rock and Roll, Backup Boomstick, Sweet Dreams, Lullaby, Double Barrel, Sawn Off. Now, obviously, a lot of these numbers, like 14 meters, 17 meters, 16 meters, they're going to be kind of hard to test. So for weapons that were like 14, 15 and 16 meters, I put at the range on 15. For everything else from 11, 10, I put to 10 meters, and then for the Sawn Off as well as the Backup Boomstick I kept at 5, and then cross-referenced with 10. However, take all of this with a pinch of salt. Again, this is going to be my accuracy, not that accuracy really counts for much on a shotgun. However, one thing I can note is whenever I ask people about what shotguns are worth using, as well as technically what are the most comfortable to use, surprise surprise, the list that pops up is this one: Super 90, Enforcer, Scorpio, M870, Sash G12, Tsunami, 612. They're the ones that basically constantly pop up. So, yeah. The only other ones on this that don't tend to pop up is, surprisingly, Lefty, due to the fact that it looks like a 612, but its stats are that of an ACS 12. Its overall performance is very, very lacking. It's also very inaccurate, and all of its damage just comes from the fact that it's got a very large mag for a shotgun, as well as its rate of fire. However, unless you're able to completely spam an enemy, which is not really going to be much use unless you're fighting a Chunga or some raid bosses, you're not really going to get much out of Sledgehammer. The only other outliers will be Sweet Dreams or Lullaby, depending on what one you have, simply just because of the one-shot mechanic. You typically find these things on like healer builds or varying different other raid builds of where just one enemy specifically that is not an elite needs to die as quick as possible. Best way to do that is stand on his spawn location. As soon as he spawns, just give the guy a slap. Problem solved. Anyway, that is going to be the end of Spreadsheet Hell. One thing I do want to add at the end of this is pretty much every single shotgun outperforms most other weapons anyway within like 5 to 10 meters. So when it comes to like what is the best shotgun, I really don't think it matters. In terms of what is actually a bad shotgun, I would have to say most of the named, minus the Enforcer as well as the Tsunami, just because perfect pummel on pretty much any shotgun. Pummel is like the go-to weapon talent. It pretty much allows you to have infinite ammo as well as near enough an extra 40% weapon damage, which is nothing to scoff at when your weapon hits like an absolute truck. Anyway, some of the best shotgun builds are actually Headhunter builds, so Hunter's Fury, all rolled to headshot damage, then Chain Killer, and then grab yourself like a Badger Tough backpack or something and just go for pure headshot damage. This will allow you to do so much damage and pretty much one-shot your way through the game. It's also pretty much the go-to solo legendary speedrun build where they just one-tap everything with a shotgun. It comes under the direct effect of CC due to Hunter's Fury, and then they just move to the next enemy. Shotguns that are typically used for this are the Super 90 as well as the M870. They do tend to be your best bet. 1, they have a very close-knit spread. 2, their optimal range is either 16 or 17 meters. M870 using the ACOG for the 17 meters. Other than that, that pretty much sums up shotguns. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. Especially the double barrels, just because unless you can kill things in 2 shots, which, yeah, I mean, somewhere I've actually got a clip of like an old clanmate of ours, Jimmy Chunga, with a double barrel shotgun in heroic countdown, running straight up to hunters, pulling the trigger of a double barrel shotgun, and they died. He was one-tapping them. Tried to find the clip because he does show the build, but yeah, I couldn't find it. I'll have to have another look somewhere, but it's just dumb. He just runs around with a double barrel shotgun, one-tapping the hunters on heroic countdown. Alas, that is me. Have fun, good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.